Many people cling to key performance indicators, or KPIs, or they're obsessed with objectives and key results, OKRs. But what if the very thing you're optimizing is exactly what's holding your business back? Toby Lutke, CEO of Shopify, one of the most successful tech companies on the planet, thinks that an obsession over metrics is harming good judgment. In this video, I'm breaking down the bold philosophy behind why Shopify doesn't use KPIs or OKRs, and why this could be the unlock for your business if you're playing the metrics game. Stick around to hear the problem with overemphasizing metrics, why quantifiable doesn't always mean valuable, and how top performers make bold decisions without relying on metrics alone. So let's start with the hard truth. Metrics are seductive because they offer control, a sense of progress, a dopamine hit when the graph goes up and to the right. But here's the problem. As Toby Lutke puts it, the moment a metric becomes a goal, it's no longer a useful metric. That's Goodhart's law. And if you run a company or lead a team, you've definitely seen this in action. Sales reps gaming the CRM just to hit a quota. Product teams building shallow features to move a number. Or ops leaders measuring what's easy, not what matters. Metrics become manipulated, and suddenly, the metric stops reflecting reality. One company I know of had a North Star of monthly active users, which sounds good, right? But what actually happened was that they built gimmicky engagement loops and push notifications and other shallow features. Retention was terrible and it didn't help their revenue. But hey, monthly active users went up, but for a short while. Did they do anything wrong? I mean, not necessarily, and it really depends on who you ask. So what does Shopify do differently? They don't ignore data. They actually invest heavily into it. They've built robust internal tools and dashboards. But here's the twist. They use data to inform decisions, not dictate them. They treat data like a cockpit. It tells the pilot what's happening, but the pilot is still the one flying the plane. This is a key distinction. Data-driven teams chase what they can measure. Data-informed teams use numbers as inputs. Toby says the overlap of the most valuable thing you can do with a product and the things that happen to be fully quantifiable is maybe about 20%. So let's break that down. Imagine you're running a restaurant. You can easily measure table turnover time, average order value, customers served per hour. But what you can't measure is the warmth of your staff, the subtle charm of the space, the emotional satisfaction of your signature dish. And often it's those things, the ones you can't neatly track, that keep people coming back. That's the danger of over-optimizing what's easy to measure. You end up managing the visible 20% and ignoring the 80% of true value that lives below the surface. So, let's be real. Most businesses are scared of what they can't measure, and that's understandable. But great businesses lean into it. Look at Apple. Apple didn't build a $3 trillion, $4 trillion company by tracking KPIs alone. They built it by obsessing over taste, over how something feels in your hand, over the elegance of the design. You can't do an A/B test on delight. But Steve Jobs believed people could feel quality, even if they couldn't explain it. You can even argue that this is the insight that keeps Apple in the top position to this day. And then there's Patagonia. They ran an ad that literally said, "Don't buy this jacket. Show me the KPI for anti-consumerism marketing." But it worked. Not because it moved a conversion rate, but because it moved people. It built trust. It aligned with values. And that's why Patagonia has one of the most loyal customer bases in the world. Neither of these companies dominate because they out-dashboarded their competition. They win because they build brands and products around things you can't quantify, but your customers can feel. And that's what Shopify believes in too. You can't quantify how much a user loved your product, how elegant your UX feels, or the trust a customer has in your brand. But you can feel it. And when a team builds something with deep care, it shows. Toby calls that craftsperson energy. And it's often a better predictor of success than any KPI. So what's the alternative? Well, let me introduce you to something called the Product Pulse Framework, PPF. It's a template I built inspired by Shopify's mindset, and Toby's acknowledgement of Goodhart's law. And this law isn't a theory to reject, it's a reality to work around. Toby's insight is that once a metric becomes a goal, it stops being reliable. So the answer isn't more metrics, it's to build a system that respects the limitations of metrics. The Product Pulse framework is for teams that want to build exceptional products by emphasizing judgment, taste, and qualitative excellence. So here's how it works. I put a link in the description to the free template you can use and follow along with me. We start with an outcome definition. This is meant to be broad and a qualitative goal, or qualitative goals, like build a product users love and recommend. There's no rigid targets yet, just aligning intent. Then we assess product quality with a shared rubric. We rate key criteria like usability, design, and user delight on a 1 to 5 scale. This gives structure without reducing everything to numbers. After that, we track flexible guiding indicators. We use directional metrics like adoption trends, user growth to provide context, but not judgment. Then we blend data with judgment. We capture key insights that combine analytics and emotional resonance. For example, people love the redesign, but we noticed a slight dip in usage. Let's dig into why. Finally, we reflect, learn, and plan. We document key decisions, capture what we've learned, and summarize the cycle, the wins, the challenges, and the next moves. Now that you got a feel for the template, here's why this matters even more today. We've entered an age where AI can do a lot of the execution, and this trend is only going to increase. It can do code, it can do content, it can do report, even analysis. But what AI cannot do is tell you which products have soul, which design feels just right, which feature will genuinely delight your users. Taste and judgment are becoming your most valuable differentiators. And that's what the Product Pulse framework is built to protect, your human edge in a world of automation. So you stuck around this far, let's bring this video home. Together, we unpacked why Shopify doesn't use KPIs or OKRs, how Goodhart's law distorts your decision-making, why taste, intuition, and qualitative signals are more important than ever, how legendary brands like Apple and Patagonia embrace the unquantifiable, and how the Product Pulse framework gives you a better way to lead your team. Here's the takeaway. You can't build a category-defining product by chasing metrics alone. You need something deeper. You need judgment, taste, and vision. Metrics aren't the enemy, but they're not your compass either. Your taste is, your user's delight is, your product's soul is. Metrics are a tool, but you are the pilot. So next time your team sits down to plan the quarter, don't ask, what numbers should we hit? Instead, you can ask, what do we want to feel proud of building? If this resonates, drop a comment, share it with someone who's tired of shallow goals, and check the description for a link to the PPF template. It's free, flexible, and ready to use with your team, because chasing excellence beats chasing numbers every time.